Welcome to the channel where you can listen to amazing stories from around the world. Today, we have a story that will touch your heart and make you think. It's a story about love, loss, and miracles. It's a story about a single mother who struggles to take care of her son who needs a life-saving surgery. It's a story about an old man who suffers from Alzheimer's and lives alone. It's a story about how their lives are connected by a twist of fate and how they find hope and happiness in each other. It's a story that will make you cry, laugh, and wonder. It's a story that you don't want to miss. Are you ready to hear it? Then sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. But first, a word from our sponsor. Abigail pushed her shopping cart through the crowded supermarket. She was a single mother, working as a waitress at a local diner, and money was always tight. She had to take care of her son, Samuel, who was suffering from a herniated disc and needed surgery. She had no health insurance, and the hospital bills were piling up. She felt helpless and hopeless, but she never gave up. She loved Samuel more than anything, and she would do anything for him. She reached the checkout counter and unloaded her groceries. She noticed that the old man in front of her was having trouble with his wallet. He seemed confused and agitated, and he kept dropping his coins and cards. He looked at Abigail with a pleading expression, as if asking for help. Abigail felt a surge of compassion for the old man. She remembered her own father, who had passed away from Alzheimer's a few years ago. She knew how hard it was to deal with the disease, and how lonely and scared the old man must have felt. She decided to help him out. She smiled at him and said, "Excuse me, sir, do you need some help?" The old man looked at her with gratitude and relief. He nodded and said, "Yes, please. I can't seem to find my credit card. I don't know where I put it." Abigail took his wallet and searched for his credit card. She found it in a hidden pocket and handed it to him. She also helped him pay for his groceries and collect his change. She then asked him, "Do you need a ride home, sir? I can drive you there if you want." The old man hesitated, but then agreed. He said, "Thank you, miss. You are very kind. I live nearby, just a few blocks away. My name is Malcolm, by the way." Abigail introduced herself and helped him load his groceries into her car. She then drove him to his house, which was a modest but cozy bungalow. She parked the car and helped him carry his groceries inside. She noticed that the house was clean and tidy, but also empty and quiet. She wondered if he lived alone, or if he had any family or friends. Malcolm invited her to his living room and offered her a cup of tea. He said, "Please, make yourself comfortable. I don't get many visitors, you know. You are the first person who has been nice to me in a long time." Abigail felt sorry for him and accepted his offer. She sat on the couch and sipped her tea. She asked him, "Do you have any family, Malcolm? Any children or grandchildren?" Malcolm nodded and said, "Yes, I have a grandson. His name is Edward. He is a doctor. He works at the hospital. He is a good boy, very smart and handsome. He takes care of me sometimes, but he is very busy, you see. He doesn't have much time for me. He doesn't visit me often. He doesn't call me much. He doesn't love me, I think." Abigail shook her head and said, "No, Malcolm, that's not true. I'm sure he loves you very much. He is just busy, that's all. He has a lot of responsibilities, and he has to save lives. He is a hero, Malcolm. You should be proud of him." Malcolm smiled and said, Yes, you are right. He is a hero. I am proud of him, but I miss him, you know? I wish he would come and see me more. I wish he would talk to me more. I wish he would hug me more. I wish he would tell me he loves me more." Abigail felt a pang of sadness in her heart. She knew how Malcolm felt. She knew how it felt to miss someone, to long for someone, to love someone. She thought of Samuel, her son, who was lying in a hospital bed, waiting for his surgery. She thought of how much she loved him, and how much she wanted to see him, to talk to him, to tug him, to tell him she loved him. She reached out and touched Malcolm's hand. She said, "Malcolm, I understand how you feel. I have a son, too. His name is Samuel. He is in the hospital right now. He has a herniated disc and he needs surgery. He is in a lot of pain, and I am very worried about him. I love him more than anything, and I would do anything for him." Malcolm looked at her with sympathy and concern. He said, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Abigail. That's terrible. How old is he? How long has he been in the hospital? How are you paying for his surgery?" Abigail sighed and said, "He is 18 years old. He has been in the hospital for a week. I don't have health insurance, and I don't have enough money to pay for his surgery. I don't know what to do, Malcolm. I feel so helpless and hopeless." Malcolm frowned and said, "That's not fair, Abigail. That's not right. You shouldn't have to go through this. You deserve better. Your son deserves better. He deserves to live a happy and healthy life. He deserves to have a bright future. He deserves to have a chance." Abigail nodded and said, "Yes, he does, Malcolm. He does. But I don't know how to give him that chance. I don't know how to help him. I don't know who to turn to." Malcolm thought for a moment and then said, "I know who to turn to, Abigail. I know who can help you. I know who can help your son. My grandson, Edward. He is a doctor, remember? He works at the hospital, remember? He can help you, Abigail. He can help your son. He can perform the surgery. He can save his life. He can give him a chance." Abigail looked at him with disbelief and hope. She said, "Really, Malcolm? Do you think he would do that? Do you think he would help us?" Malcolm nodded and said, "Yes, Abigail, I do. I do think he would help you. I do think he would help your son. He is a good boy, remember? He is a hero, remember? He saves lives, remember? He would save your son's life, Abigail. He would give him a chance. He would do it for me, Abigail. He would do it for you." Abigail felt a surge of emotion in her chest. She felt grateful and hopeful. She felt a glimmer of light in the darkness. She felt a spark of love in the coldness. She said, "Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you so much. You are very kind. You are very generous. You are very brave. You are a hero too, Malcolm. You are saving my son's life, Malcolm. You are giving him a chance, Malcolm. You are doing it for me, Malcolm. You are doing it for him." Malcolm smiled and said, "You are welcome, Abigail. You are welcome. It's my pleasure. It's my duty. It's my honor. It's my gift. It's my love, Abigail. It's my love." He then got up and said, "Come on, Abigail. Let's go to the hospital. Let's go see Edward. Let's go see your son. Let's go save his life. Let's go give him a chance. Let's go, Abigail. Let's go." Abigail got up and followed him. She took his hand and squeezed it. She said, "Yes, Malcolm. Let's go. Let's go see Edward. Let's go see Samuel. Let's go save his life. Let's go give him a chance. Let's go, Malcolm. Let's go." They walked out of the house and got into the car. They drove to the hospital, where Edward was waiting for them. They met him at the entrance and introduced themselves. They told him their story and asked for his help. Edward listened to them and agreed to help them. He took them to Samuel's room and examined him. He confirmed that he had a herniated disc and that he needed surgery. He said that he could perform the surgery and that he would do it for free. He said that he would do it for his grandfather, Malcolm. He said that he would do it for his girlfriend, Abigail. Abigail and Malcolm looked at each other with surprise and joy. They realized that Edward had mistaken them for a couple. They decided not to correct him. They decided to play along. They decided to pretend that they were in love. They decided to give themselves a chance. They thanked Edward and hugged him. They also hugged each other and kissed each other. They said that they loved each other and that they were happy. They said that they were grateful and hopeful. They said that they were lucky and blessed. They said that they were ready and willing. They said that they were ready for the surgery. They said that they were ready for the chance. They said that they were ready for the love. Abigail and Edward were married in a small and simple ceremony at the hospital chapel. They invited only their closest friends and family, including Malcolm, Samuel, and Isabelle. They exchanged their vows and rings and kissed each other with love and joy. They were happy and grateful for their new life together, and for the miracle that had saved Samuel's life. Samuel had recovered quickly from his surgery, thanks to Edward's skill and care. He was able to walk and move without pain, and he was eager to resume his normal activities. He was also happy for his mother and Edward, and he welcomed them as his new family. He was especially happy for Isabelle, his girlfriend, whom he loved dearly. Isabelle was a sweet and innocent girl who had met Samuel at school. They had fallen in love at first sight, and they had been inseparable ever since. She was also grateful to Edward for saving Samuel's life, and she admired him as a doctor and as a person. She was also fond of Abigail, who had treated her with kindness and respect, and she considered her as a mother figure. Abigail and Edward moved in together, along with Samuel and Isabelle. They bought a spacious and comfortable house where they had enough room for everyone. They also had a baby girl, Lily, who was born a few months after their wedding. She was a beautiful and healthy baby who brought joy and laughter to their family. She was the apple of their eyes, and they showered her with love and attention. Abigail and Edward were happy and fulfilled with their family and their careers. Abigail quit her job as a waitress and became a full-time mother and wife. She took care of Lily and the house, and she also helped Malcolm with his daily needs. She enjoyed spending time with her family and friends, and she also pursued her hobbies and interests. She was content and satisfied with her life, and she thanked God for his blessings. Edward continued to work as a doctor at the hospital, where he was respected and admired by his colleagues and patients. He was dedicated and passionate about his profession, and he always did his best to save lives and heal wounds. He also balanced his work and his family, and he always made time for Abigail and the kids. He loved them more than anything, and he showed them his love and affection every day. He was happy and proud of his life, and he thanked God for his gifts. Samuel and Isabelle graduated from high school and got accepted to a prestigious college. They decided to go to the same college where they could study and be together. They were excited and nervous about their future, and they had big dreams and plans. They wanted to make a difference in the world, and they wanted to be happy and successful. They also wanted to get married and have a family, just like Abigail and Edward. They loved each other more than anything, and they showed each other their love and support every day. They were hopeful and optimistic about their life, and they thanked God for his opportunities. Malcolm was the oldest and the wisest member of their family. He was also the most loved and the most cherished. He lived with Abigail and Edward, who took care of him and treated him like their own father. He also spent time with Samuel and Isabelle, who adored him and learned from him. He also played with Lily, who made him smile and laugh. He was happy and grateful for his family, and he thanked God for his grace. They were a happy and loving family who lived in harmony and peace. They faced their challenges and difficulties with courage and faith, and they enjoyed their joys and blessings with gratitude and happiness. They supported and helped each other, and they respected and appreciated each other. They were loyal and faithful to each other, and they were honest and sincere with each other. They were a family, and they loved each other. One night, Samuel and Isabelle decided to go for a drive on a mountain road. They wanted to celebrate their graduation and their anniversary, and they wanted to have some fun and adventure. They packed some snacks and drinks, and they drove away in Samuel's car. They were in a good mood and they were looking forward to their night. Abigail and Edward wished them a good night and told them to be careful and to come back soon. They also told them that they loved them and that they were proud of them. They then went to their bedroom, where they cuddled and kissed each other. They also told each other that they loved each other and that they were happy with each other. They then fell asleep in each other's arms, dreaming of their future. Malcolm was in his room, reading a book and listening to music. He was in a peaceful and relaxed state, and he felt a warm and cozy feeling in his heart. He thought of his family and how much he loved them, and how much they loved him. He thanked God for his family and for his life. He then closed his eyes and drifted into a deep and restful sleep, feeling a gentle and soothing presence in his soul. Lily was in her crib, sleeping soundly and peacefully. She was wrapped in a soft and fluffy blanket, and she had a cute and cuddly teddy bear by her side. She was breathing slowly and steadily, and she had a smile on her face. She dreamed of her family and how much she loved them and how much they loved her. She thanked God for her family and for her life. She then snuggled with her teddy bear and slept like an angel, feeling a warm and loving embrace in her spirit. They were all asleep, and they were all happy. They were all happy, and they were all asleep. But their happiness was about to be shattered, and their sleep was about to be interrupted. For Samuel and Isabelle were about to have a car accident, and their lives were about to change forever. Abigail and Edward were separated and living apart. They had a bitter and painful argument after Samuel and Isabelle's car accident, and they could not reconcile their differences. They blamed each other for the tragedy, and they could not forgive each other. They also could not agree on how to treat Isabelle, who was in critical condition and in need of Edward's care. They decided to end their marriage and go their separate ways. They were devastated and miserable, and they regretted their decision. Abigail stayed at Malcolm's house and visited Samuel every day. Samuel was in a coma and showed no signs of improvement. He was hooked to machines and tubes, and he looked pale and lifeless. Abigail was heartbroken and hopeless, and she prayed for his recovery. She also became obsessed and vengeful, and she blamed Isabelle for the accident. She believed that Isabelle was responsible and guilty, and she hated her. She also believed that Edward was unfaithful and uncaring, and she hated him. She harassed Isabelle with phone calls and messages, threatening to sue her and ruin her life. She also spread rumors about Isabelle and Edward, accusing them of having an affair. She was angry and cruel, and she hurt Isabelle. Edward stayed at their house and visited Isabelle every day. Isabelle was in critical condition and needed Edward's care. She had multiple injuries and fractures, and she was in a lot of pain. Edward was depressed and guilty, and he tried to save her life. He also became protective and supportive, and he defended her from Abigail's attacks. He comforted her in her pain, and he assured her that he was there for her. He also tried to contact Abigail and apologize to her, but she ignored him. He was sad and lonely, and he missed Abigail. Samuel and Isabelle remained in a coma and faced death. Their doctors were pessimistic and advised Abigail and Edward to prepare for the worst. They suggested that they consider donating their organs or terminating their life support. They said that they had no hope of recovery and that they were only prolonging their suffering. They said that they had to make a decision soon and that they had to make it together. Abigail and Edward were shocked and heartbroken by the news. They were faced with a difficult decision and a moral dilemma. They were also conflicted by their feelings for each other and for Isabelle. They agreed to meet at the hospital and signed the papers. They were overcome with grief and remorse, and they dreaded their meeting. They met at the hospital and signed the papers. They did not look at each other or talk to each other. They only exchanged cold and bitter words, and they blamed each other for everything. They said that they hated each other and that they never loved each other. They said that they regretted their marriage and that they wished they never met. They said that they were done with each other and that they wanted nothing to do with each other. They said that they were ready to end their lives and that they wanted to end their pain. They said that they were ready for the death and that they wanted to end their love. Abigail and Edward decided to donate Samuel and Isabel's organs and terminate their life support. They agreed to meet at the hospital and sign the papers. They were overcome with grief and remorse, and they dreaded their meeting. As they were about to sign the papers, they received a miraculous news. Samuel and Isabelle had woken up from their coma and were stable. They were overjoyed and rushed to see them. Samuel and Isabelle were happy and relieved to see Abigail and Edward. They hugged them and thanked them for their love and care. They also told them that they had a shared dream in their coma, where they saw each other and talked to each other. They said that they felt a strong connection and a divine intervention that kept them alive. Abigail and Edward were amazed and touched by Samuel and Isabelle's story. They realized that they were wrong to blame and hate Isabelle, and that they were meant to be together. They apologized to Isabelle and asked for her forgiveness. They also apologized to each other and asked for their forgiveness. They confessed their love and vowed to never leave each other again. Samuel and Isabelle forgave Abigail and Edward and accepted their apology. They also expressed their love and gratitude to them. They said that they wanted to be a family and live happily ever after. Abigail and Edward agreed and embraced Samuel and Isabelle. They also hugged Lily, who'd been brought to the hospital by Malcolm. They thanked Malcolm for his help and guidance. They also thanked God for his mercy and grace. They celebrated their reunion and their new life. They were a happy and loving family who lived in harmony and peace. They faced their challenges and difficulties with courage and faith, and they enjoyed their joys and blessings with gratitude and happiness. They supported and helped each other, and they respected and appreciated each other. They were loyal and faithful to each other, and they were honest and sincere with each other. They were a family, and they loved each other. This is the end of the story. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. We hope you felt the emotions and the messages that the story conveyed. We hope you were inspired and entertained by the story. We also hope you will join us again for more stories like this. We have a lot of stories to share with you. Stories that will make you laugh, cry, think, and feel. Stories that will touch your heart and soul. Stories that will enrich your life and imagination. If you want to hear more stories like this, please like, share, subscribe, and comment on our channel. We would love to hear your feedback and suggestions. We would also love to hear your own stories and experiences. We are a community of story lovers, and we welcome you to be a part of it. Thank you for listening, and until next time, keep dreaming and keep loving.